you have to always get back to what motivated you to do it in the first place. You know, when I first started off, it wasn't about going viral for me. It was about like, you know, I was getting stuff off my chest. I always knew that I had like a natural talent, but in this day and age, it's not even about natural talent. It's more so about personality. When people watch you over social media, they want to be able to identify with something because there's a lot of talented people in the world who don't have social media presence. And, you know, I think about people saying stuff like, you know, well, Cardi B, I always use her as this reference. I'm a big Cardi fan as far as her personality in general. How she went on to sell records, etc. But it's easy for people like Cardi to sell records because you love her personality. So with the internet, it's easy for me because I've always had a bomb-ass personality. So I feel like when, you know, I wasn't getting the accolades that I felt like, you know, other people who I was just as funny as were getting and stuff like that. It did not discourage me. It just pushed you to go harder because it's like, okay, cool. And then two, one thing I've always known, I know that as much as given, as much as required, so that just because you see people getting it quicker does not mean it's going to last longer. One thing that I put into my work is being a great comic. I try to give at least 6-7 punchlines per video, or even when I'm on stage, that first minute I try to go ahead and knock the socks off so you can already know that I'm about to put on a show. So I keep in mind what I bring to the table. So it's never been a time that I was discouraged from the internet to not go on. Now, of course, it has been a time that I've been sidetracked, but that's easy because you look at other people via social media and you see, well, this works for them or that works for them. So you want to go in. I would be lying if I said I don't go and look back at my older videos and I think that I was equally funny as I am now. Of course, I'm a lot funnier now than I was then because I know a little more. But I go back and look at even, my bad, I'm getting a lot of text messages and stuff. But I go back and look at even the way I look then and the way I look now. You get what I'm saying? So I can see a difference in my life, my jokes, my finances. You can see all of that as you grow. So the internet for me is more so been like kind of like building a portfolio or like a photo album just to go back and say, you know what, I don't give a damn if I have not made it to where you think I should make it to. I've made it from here to there. Getting acknowledgement from my peers, that never made me, no, never mind, because I've always been in the same comedy clubs as them. You know, I was one of those comics that were very fortunate to be in major comedy clubs my first year out. So, you know, it didn't matter to me if someone who had been around years was to say, you know, I know who Darren Fleet is, or that's Darren Fleet, because we work the same comedy club. So, of course, we know who each other is. You've seen my name on the wall as much as I've seen yours. Now, because I think when it comes to the spirit of comedy, we like to see who's going to stick around for the long haul. Comedy is a lot different than music. So, music, your first year out, if you're not already getting that head nod from like your successors, like if you're a rapper, like maybe like the Baby, and you're not getting that nod from people like Jay-Z or something like that, it means something to you. It's not like that with comedy. Comedy, you know, I think comics, we look at each other like, okay, you're doing comedy now, because there's so many people who resort to comedy because folks feel like comedy is the easiest form of entertainment because we've all made someone laugh in our lifetime. However, making someone laugh and being a comedian are two different things. It's something on your DNA code. You don't just result to it. It picks you up. So with comics, I feel like with good comics, it's like I've always seen, even baby comics is coming up. I see them coming up the ladder. And I still consider myself as one of the baby comics, even though I've been in it for 5 years. But compared to like the Martin Lawrences and people like that, or even the generation underneath them, like Tiffany Haddish and stuff, I'm still like considered a baby comic. But the comics who are coming up that internet, that TikTok lane now that I'm watching, who've had to probably go through the chains that I've went through, it's not about whether they're funny or not. It's about how long are you going to last. Because comedy, it's not funny when you're going through shit at home. how do I still remain funny even though I'm going through my personal shit? That's what makes you a really detailed comic. So now that I'm getting like the head nods from, you know, the Wild 'N Out cast and the, you know, the Kim Coles and the people from Living Single and all, you know, all the bigger people, it's like they've been seeing me come up. I'll always get a like or two from them. But now it's consistent because it's like, oh, Darren is in it to win it. It's a show and prove with comedy more so than it is how good I am at telling a joke, because I know whether you're a comic or not, whether I, you know, from the first joke I hear, I'm like, oh, that's something natural. Or I can watch that. So it's not about whether you're a comic, because even the worst comic in the world can write a joke so detailed that you think that this is a natural, when really they're not. Myself come up under the chains like the Paul Mooney's and the Cat Williams and stuff like that, where I can just look at things and just make it a joke. I don't even have to write. It's just on my, I can't explain what I do. Oh, but I do it. So basically what I'm saying is like, I know the difference of a written comic and a comic who just got it naturally. But even though whether you got it naturally or you write it, what makes you a great comic is how can you take on everyday life endeavors and still dust yourself off and make these people laugh? Because a lot of us go through the same, well, shit. It ain't a lot of us. We go through the same shit that you do. Miscarriages, death, etc. And we still have to get on the stage and make you laugh about the shit that we go through too. That's what makes you, you know, separate. So I never had that waver. I know what God sent me here to do. To answer your question, it's just about, do I feel like doing the shit? Like, if that makes sense, you know, so keep pushing yourself, motivate yourself. Yeah.